Alright, boys, welcome back. I feel like it's been forever, but it's time. Check our watches. Yep, it's time for another tier list update here. I haven't done this in a while. It's been, man, it's been a couple months at least. A couple more sets have been released. If you don't know, and you only watch my tier list videos for some reason, Universal Monsters is a 4-pack, and Peter Pan has a 2-pack out. Look them up. Check out my other videos for those. But today we're going to do a tier list. We're going to add 4 more characters to this almighty tier list. And this is what I have so far. Take a quick gander. See what you approve of and what you disapprove. Solid A tier characters. Some of these are so close that I can't quite make one better than the other. Like good defense, good offense, companions. I think I'm going to move Alice up. She's pretty high in 8. I don't think she might be better than Agrit's. But this is pretty much where I have most people. I have Batman and Jon Snow down here on the bottom. But today's for the choice is Bugs, Lebron, Ian Malcolm, and T-Rex. These two come in a 4-pack. These two come in a 2-pack, and come in a 2-pack. Jurassic Park and Space Jam. Take a look at this up. Give you a little rundown on what they do, and we'll throw them in here. This is amazing tier list because Black Panther is on the top. Oh my god, Black Panther is so good. You can't ever count Black Panther out. The tokens, oh my, kinetic energy burst. Alright, let's look at the first one for this tier list, though. We're going to take a look at our boy, Lbj Lebron James. He's a double blue. He's got 2 defense. His trait is crossover. LeBron can move through rivals as though they were allies. So you know how if you're stuck in this wall right here, like, and you're trying to get out of your base, even if Bugs is a rival, LeBron can move through him. Great. So nothing really blocks LeBron. You can move through rivals as though they were allies. It's a pretty good trait to have when you're boxed in a weird spot and you got to get LeBron through. There's one of the new maps where Alice can put a rabbit in a doorway, like first turn. LeBron is a pretty good counter to Alice with the rabbit as a blocker. Same as like people who use Igor or even Sally's arm to block doorways. LeBron can get through doors like that. LeBron's first trait is a 3 blue. Chase down block. It's pretty much the same thing as grappling swing, Batman's grappling swing. So place LeBron adjacent to a rival you can see within 3, do a challenge 2. So as long as you can see a rival, remember, being able to see means you have line of sight from middle of the square to middle of your rival square with no obstructions blocking. So if we wanted to, the square here in the middle, this square here, you can definitely see that. So LeBron could place adjacent. He gets a bonkers challenge 2. Not 2 bonk. The 2 is a 2, buddy. What do you blocked it? Come on, Bugs. You got defense? You got defense? Of course you do. Of course you do. Of course you do. Well, that's his first trait. Or his first ability. His second ability here is step back jumper. Move 1 away from an adjacent rival and do an action. So this move is a little tricky. It's very cheap, and it's almost like Morty's move 2 and do an interact. But with this one, it's I can't say that it's better than Morty's trait, but it's similar in. Oh man, how do you compare the two and say that this move is good? I don't want to say that it's bad, but having to be next to a rival, it's very circumstantial. You know what I mean? So if you're playing like Control or something, where you and a rival Get this color base, call it a white base. You and a rival are fighting for like a spot that's over here or something. You know what I mean? You can move away from a rival and like flip the spot, or you could move away from a rival and help like a downed teammate that was over here or something. Any action. But it's just moving away from the rival that kind of makes it not as good as Morty's, but it's not a bad move. Being able to move and then do another action. So I would assume that you could move one away and then do another move too. So you could technically move 3 away from a rival if you wanted to. So that move's okay. I'm not a huge fan of it, but being a one blue makes it very cheap, and it's in game types like Control, I would say it's really good. I don't know. Capture the flag, it's okay, because you're moving away. I mean, if you have a battle in the middle of the map or something, you have to get good positioning in order to move away from a rival and then do. You know what I mean? It's if you can line yourself up right, it's a really good move. Number 3, blue. Challenge 3, move 2. Seems pretty straightforward. So as long as you're next to a rival and this challenge option is available to you, you can move 2. So you pay the big blue 3. Ow. Challenge 2. Win or lose, it doesn't matter what the challenge is, and then you get 2. Well, LeBron's not bad. Double blue is very... Man, it's very good. You can put him in squads that are very blue heavy. Like, say you need a movement team. Black Panthers, like... Black Panther's good with so many people, but bonus blues are always good with black. Yeah, the moves are definitely based on game mode. Yeah. He can't stand himself up. He can move through allies, though. He doesn't have huge defense, and he doesn't have huge challenges. I mean, the in and out is his best challenge, and even a 3 isn't bonkers. But I mean, I like LeBron. Next, Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny is blue-gray. He's 2 defense, and his trait is What's Up, Doc? While standing after a rival within 4 squares of Bugs does a challenge and loses, you may place a blue from your ability pool on the 2 of your cooldown track to place Bugs adjacent to that rival. Okay, so a couple of things have to go on here for Bugs in order to use this trait. You have to be on the board, you have to be standing, and you have to be within 4 squares of a rival. Okay, so let's count this out so we can be very specific on this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the rival has to be 4 squares away. 1. Your ally does not. It doesn't say anything about the distance that your ally has to be. Okay, so we're going to say that this rival, different color. This rival right here loses the challenge to LeBron. After the challenge is lost, if you have a blue in your ability pool down here, you can spend it on the 2 to place Bugs over here adjacent to the rival that lost the challenge. So, I mean, it's a pretty good trait. It's... If you think about Faceless Assassin, and Faceless Assassin being able to just place without any of those circumstances, but the cost is 3, this trait is kind of trash. You know what I mean? So you have to be lined up, you have to hope that the rival loses the challenge, and you have to have your blue ready to spend in order to use it. I mean, it's okay. it can be very, it's luck. It's a lucky trait. Like if you can get everything to line this up and it's actually a positive move in a right direction for you, then it's a big play. But it's hard. It's a harder trait to use. Sure. We'll give that trait a kind of meh. We'll start out with a meh on the trait. It's not as good as Faceless Assassin. You don't even get a challenge out of it. Like, say, even if you were to get, like, place it on the 2 and get placed, you have a lot of success with LeBron and Bugs at the same. Maybe with the bonus blues. Yeah, so you have extra blues in your cooldown pool, or in your ability pool. So you have more chances to use the trait. That's a good idea, having the extra blues with LeBron. Because you're going to need a lot of blues in order to use that trait. But it can close the gap on a lot of problems. If you know, if you need your Bugs to pair up with somebody who's getting challenged or something. It's an okay trait, but it's not. There's better. Let's look at his first ability. Get a bonus with the gray with the fall. So you get three blue grays with the fall. Not a bad starter. First ability here, Rascally Rabbit. A 3 gray. Challenge 3. If you win, shift a token or marker on any cooldown track, up 1 or down 2. Okay, easy peasy. You challenge, and if you win the challenge, you get to shift a token or marker, like up 1 or down 2. So you could shift this down 2, or a point marker. You could shift a point marker up 1, or you could shift somebody else's up 1, because it says on any cooldown track. Pretty basic. Oh, Black Widow with these two. Oh my god, blue-gray heaven, right? Let's look at his second ability here. Should have turned left. Choose a rival Bugs can see within 3. Move him 2 squares. Pretty easy. As long as the rival... Is it just a rival? Yep, choose a rival within 3 squares. Move him 2. You can move him wherever. It doesn't matter. The line of sight doesn't have to technically end with you having line of sight. You just move them 2 squares. As long as you can see them with the first move, I think, right? You have to be able to see for the second move. I don't think you technically have. For the first, as long as you can see them, you can move them. Unless somebody in chat wants to correct me on that. Does the second move, do you have to, like, say I moved him 1, does the second move have to be here? So I can keep line of sight? Or can I move him over here? Or say he was here, and I moved him 1, could I not move him again after that? I think as long as you have a line of sight on the first move and you're within 3 squares, you can move him more. Pretty sure on that. Let me know down in the comments. Third ability, Ain't I a Stinker? Move 1, choose an exhausted rival within 2 squares. Your opponent gives their exhausted marker to one of their unexhausted characters. This one's pretty crazy. It's definitely a setup move, and it takes a little bit of planning. But what is going to happen is move so you don't... Okay, yep, so we were right there. So you can move them around a corner or something. You can move them wherever, as long as you have line of sight for the first move on the move 2. Okay, so you move 1. Let's do the easy part. Let's work through this together. Let's move 1. Then let's say these 2 are your rivals. So it's 2v2, and these 2 are your rivals. Ian Malcolm is exhausted. The T-Rex is not. So Ian Malcolm has to be within 2 since he's the exhausted character. Then T-Rex can be really anywhere. Okay, so we move 1. We make sure that we're near an exhausted character within 2. And then your opponent gives their exhausted marker to one of their unexhausted characters. Okay, so say your opponent was trying to get D over here with the T-Rex, and he'd already moved Ian Malcolm out of the base. He's in the middle, right? So now, if you use Ain't I a Stinker, Ian Malcolm has to be the unexhausted character, and T-Rex is now the exhausted character. So it would keep him from getting D, and Ian Malcolm would have another turn. But what would Ian Malcolm do? Come out here and fight, but he wants to stay in the territory. So you're kind of putting your opponent in a weird position with this move. It's definitely a setup move. Should I sneeze with the mic on? Ooh, okay, maybe not. I thought we had to sneeze. Okay, yeah, we did. I knew we did. Okay. So it's kind of a tricky move. You're going to have to set it up to where you're not getting punished by unexhausting Ian Malcolm again. So say it was the other way around, and you were unexhausting somebody who was like over here, and they could just come over and take C. But you can get punished using this move if you're not playing it right. I think that's why it's a 1 gray, because it's a risk-reward type move. That sneeze always waits till you least... Yeah. It was trying to sneak out this left nostril. Like... So yeah, Bugs is a utility character to the max. Not gonna lie, Bugs was one of the winning characters in Gen Con last year. If you can... He's a great in FFA. Amazing in FFA. Because anytime... There's a bunch of rivals to use this trait with. The Ain't I a Stinker move is great in free-for-all because people want to get their characters out of their base, and if you're exhausting and unexhausting their characters, they're not using the ones that they need to get in order to get the extra points. And then Rascally Rabbit is just... It's okay. For a challenge 3 for 3. And then like an if you win stipulation at the end is... It's okay. But, you know, Costco 1, 2, 3. Bugs is okay. He's definitely a utility character, though. He's not really a support character. He's not really a banger character, like where he's trying to fight everybody. But he definitely has utility. Should have turned left is probably his best move. It helps in flags, it helps in control, it helps in territory. I think Ain't I a Stinker is very situational. I think his trade is situational. Let's look at the baller. The baller Ian Malcolm real quick. Change his base color back to red. Apply it. Ian Malcolm is blue-gray. He has a 1 defense, but that 1 defense is always this dice right here. It's called the Chaos dice. It's got blank sides for nothing, and it's got the crit side. I think it's what is it? 3? I think it's 3 and 3. Yep. 3 crits and 3 regulars. His trait is whenever Ian would roll a dice, he replaces one of the standard dice with the Chaos dice. That's why your 1 defense is not a Funkoverse dice, because you're always replacing at least 1 dice with the Chaos dice. I like the rabbit, but I am not the best with them. Ian is good if you know how to use them. 3 crits. Yeah, Ian's nasty with the crit dice. His first ability is Incessant Snark, range 3, challenge 1. If you lose, do a challenge 1 to the same target. So you guys know. You guys already know. If you're within 3 on the range, you get a challenge 1. And since it's Ian Malcolm, you get to you get a 50-50 chance at nothing or a crit. There's a way to reset the dice roller and do this in Tabletop Simulator, but in real life, you'll roll it. Let's see if we get one. See. Oh, ballin' crit. So, that's his first ability. Second ability, Life Finds a Way. Move to swap an ability token from your ability pool or cooldown track with one from outside the game. This one's a little interesting. In this game, there are 4 ability colors: red, yellow, gray, and blue. Life Finds a Way. You spend a gray on the one of your cooldown track. You move 2. And then you can swap something. Say this was your team right here. You're playing a blue-gray team. And you want to swap one of these grays out with a blue. So you're going to go into your other packs that you haven't pulled out for technically this match right here. And you're going to take one from outside of the game. And now maybe you only have 1 gray on your team because you've swapped them all for blues. So if you're trying to get Bugs more traits... if you're trying to get more bugs traits and you're trying to get more blues for that, you can swap a gray for a blue. Or you could, you don't technically have to swap the gray. You're putting the gray on the one, but any color from your ability pool or cooldown track you can get from outside the game. I like watching JD become annoyed JD using it. I never hit this crit dice. That was like the first crit I've ever gotten. See, this is my normal life. See this? Unsuccessful? That's normal JD luck right there. That's why Ian Malcolm and me don't get along. Must go faster. Roll 1 dice. If you roll a crit, move 5. Otherwise, move 2. Easy peasy. You roll the crit dice. Oh my god, I got a crit. I would be able to move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you don't get a crit and you get the regular blank side, you only get to move 2. Ian Malcolm is absolutely ridiculous if you can roll those crits. Being able to move 5 for a 2 is... You probably want to keep at least 1 gray for that ability, though. I mean, midway, I would say that that's true. But at the end of the day, if it's late in the game and you're ditching everything to go faster, or you're ditching everything for LeBron, or you're really trying to like line up some traits and do some things, or move... If you're going blue heavy towards the end of the game, why not get rid of the gray? Why not go hard blue? You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, you're stuck. You know, maybe yeah, maybe you need that blue. I hear what you're saying. Keep the gray for like late game. Maybe you need the gray. But I would say later in the game, it's a possibility that you ditch the gray for all blues. But I was saying Ian Malcolm is really good if you can roll the crits. If you get really lucky, he's kind of like an Oogie Boogie type character with the gamble aspect. The range 3 challenge 1 with the crit dice is it's really good. Incessant Snark is good. Life Finds a Way, it can be interesting. It's another utility move. Kind of like Ain't I a Stinker. It's a 1 gray utility move. And then Must Go Faster is really good. Ian Malcolm is really good in basketball. If you don't know about Ian Malcolm in basketball, he's lights out. Because you get to roll 2 dice to shoot the basketball, and one of them is his crit dice. So he either hits a 3-pointer or he doesn't, you know what I mean? So it's like a 50-50 chance to hit a 3-pointer. He's best in basketball. I would say there are other characters with more defense and maybe a little bit more bang for your buck in terms of like being able to stand yourself up and fight. But he's still pretty good. Let's look at one more character before we throw them all in, and that is the T-Rex. T-Rex is double red. He's got a defense of 2. 50% from 3 is better than Steph. Let's go. The Funkoverse Steph Curry. That's what we call him, Ian Malcolm. Call him Steph Malcolm. Predatory instincts while standing. If a standing rival ends a move adjacent to the T-Rex, you may place a red from your ability token pool on the 1 of your cooldown track to do a challenge 2. Okay, so T-Rex is chilling. He's standing here. Bugs wants to try to get around to get to C, but he has to go 1, 2, 3, 4. After his first move of 1, 2, the T-Rex, if you have a red in your ability pool unspent, you can spend it on the 1 to automatically... It's like an instant in Magic. So it automatically takes place as soon as somebody ends a move. Even if it's not your turn, if a rival ends their move next to you, you can spend a red to challenge 2. So he ain't getting around me. Especially not with the double crit Malcolm dice. So that's his trait. I like that trait. I mean, it gives you options as long as you have a red. First ability is Chomp, challenge 4. If this challenge knocks out a character, shift a red ability token off your cooldown. It's only knocking out a character, not knocking down. So your first attack, if you win, gets knocked down. And then the second one would be a knockout to the cooldown track. If you win with Chomp, instead of it being a 4 cost, you could technically take it right off your cooldown track. Because with Chomp, if you win, take some right off your cooldown. T-Rex is really expensive, but good. Oh my god, is he? He's really good, especially if you can combo with the Chomp to try to cut down the cost on some of these abilities. Stomp. Move 3 in a straight line. This action may move the T-Rex through rivals. Do a challenge 2 to each rival. The T-Rex move. Okay, so we got a couple rivals right here. T-Rex goes 1, 2, 3 with Stomp. He challenges both rivals for 2. But remember, he can only move 3. 1, 2. So if the characters, if you have your team spaced out like this, the T-Rex can't go 1, 2, 3. And he can't go 1, 2, 3 because it says in a straight line. So it's an okay move, but it's not the best. It's really his best movement move. Being able to move 3 is kind of big in this game. That extra space kind of makes a big difference sometimes, and sometimes if you can get a challenge out of it, it's a bonus. You know what I mean? You're using it to get somewhere, but you know what I mean, if you get a challenge out of it, it's a little icing on top of the stomping cake. Roar. Push adjacent standing rivals 1 square. I mean, if you could set it up where they're like near your flag, or they're in the control area, say the middle area was the territory, maybe you can roar and push both the rivals out of the territory. That's really what that move is best for. Maybe you could use it with like a mystery box with Joker, and you could roar and push people onto like floating boxes. That would be crazy. But Roar's pretty good. At least he has some sort, a small sort of utility, and he's just not like a big challenge monster that's like a, you know what I mean, like a glass cannon. You can also do a move 0 on each. Trigger predatory. So she lines up. Okay. So Genesis vouches for T-Rex in control. Top tier. And if you wanted to, B-Man is saying here, if you wanted to, you could, and you had 2 reds, you could roar to technically, instead of push an adjacent standing rival 1 square, you could technically push them 0 squares. It counts as a move to push 0. I know, moving 0 squares is a move. And then when both of them, I guess, finished that move 0, if you had the reds, you could spend it on 1 to challenge them on your turn. So you'd spend the 2, and if, well, I mean, it's not terribly expensive, so it'd be 3 reds. It'd be 3 reds, 1 on the 2, and then 2 on the 1 if you're. That's legal? Yes, it is. My wife would call BS and not allow it. Nope, it is legal. You can roar and push technically 0 squares. Just for a quick character like comparison, Kool-Aid Man. Kool-Aid Man has Oh Yeah, and he also has Splash Zone. So Splash Zone, you can only use this if Kool-Aid Man has moved this turn. You could take an action and move 0. Instead of moving like back and then forward for a movement, you could technically take an action, move 0, and still use Splash Zone. Yeah, pushes are moves, and it's always push up 2. Yep, it's up to 1. Oh yeah, all pushes, all pulls, all moves are up 2. So it's like with Stomp, move 3 in a straight line. It's technically move up to 3. Or it should have turned left. Bugs can see within squares. Move them 2 squares. It should be technically move them up to 2 squares. I'm gonna screenshot this and use it on her. before she uses it on me then. Yeah. Okay. So let's put these in the tier list. We'll call this and call this a day here. Take a look here. Here. Bugs is a utility and he's good though. So I'm gonna put him in B. But I think, man, if I put him at the bottom, I'm put him somewhere towards the bottom of B. He's not amazing. His challenges are better than Jon Snow. Lower B, above Kool-Aid. Okay, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. He has a little bit more utility than Kool-Aid. I don't think Daenerys is as bad as I think she is. I think Daenerys is better than bottom of B. But I'll have to look more into that. Don't take my Daenerys right here as end all be all. LeBron is A tier. The only thing is he can't stand himself up. So I'm gonna put him below Darkwing. Ian Malcolm, I'm gonna put him down here too. He's really good in basketball. LeBron A tier? You don't think LeBron's A tier? You think LeBron is B? Is he? He's better than Draco for sure. Then he's top of B. No. Ian Malcolm's not going down there. I put him down there for. Hold on. Okay, so LeBron. I like LeBron though. I like LeBron. Maybe you're right though, because these guys are better. Ian Malcolm, it's okay. I play the Queen of Hearts right here. I'd play Jack Skellington over Ian. T-Rex. To be honest, I'm not huge. Oh. Stop. You're Bo and B-Man at the moment right now. You're both. T-Rex is. I would say bottom of A tier. I like that. Bo being top. I think Ian's. I would take Ian's movement over any of these guys' movement. If you can roll that crit dice. This is out of my hands at this point. This is my personal, how I like to play characters tier list, alright? The JD loves these characters tier list. How comfortable I feel, like if I were to pick a character, like first round pick, this is how I feel. Any of these characters would be a good first pick. Any of these characters would be a good 1/8. And then if you're not getting one of these characters here, if you're picking from down here as your first pick, then you're in trouble, right? That's how we're doing. That's how we're doing it. Because everything is circumstantial and it all depends on the game type, and as always, it depends on you, the player, how comfortable you feel with the characters, how many times you've practiced, how lucky you get with your dice. And as always, if you have lucky rolling, then everything's easy and you're B-Man. The only thing with this tier list is overall. Yes, exactly. This is just an overall tier list. What characters you would pick if you were trying to play in any game type. You're rolling up to your buddy's house. You gotta pick 3 characters. Here's a decent little tier list to look at what you should if you're trying to pick powerhouse characters. Of course, everything's circumstantial. It depends on your rolls, lucky rolling. I'll see you in the next tier list video. Come watch us on Twitch. We're B-Man. D-Man's heckling me. Here, help you read it. D-Man's heckling me. I'll see you in the next one. I'm gonna call this stream as well, boys. I'll see you in the next stream. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, 9 p.m.